So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, I'm very excited for this Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith fight. There's a lot of speculation going around. Joe Gallagher's coming out and there's a lot of fans that are saying Callum Smith needs a knockout to win. He needs to knock out Canelo to win this fight. In my opinion, that everyone keeps saying that Canelo gets a lot of gift decisions. Callum Smith needs to stop him. Callum Smith can't go into fight against Canelo Alvarez thinking that he needs a knockout to win, because he's not gonna get the knockout. And if he goes in there looking for the knockout, he may get knocked out himself. You know what? Callum Smith has got a huge size difference over Canelo Alvarez. That size difference is massive. He has a huge size difference over Canelo Alvarez. And he needs to use that size advantage to his favor. He needs to use that size advantage to his favor. He needs to keep it long. I've said it many times that he needs to keep this fight long. If he doesn't keep it long, then for me, he's not going to win this fight. If Canelo manages to do what John Ryder did, get on the inside, make it a war, I think he's in trouble. I think he's in trouble because I think Canelo's going to chop that body down, and I can see him stopping him with vicious body shots. Canelo's the best body puncher in the game. I'll be honest with you. He's the best body puncher in the game. The way he puts those body punches together, they're frightening. They're frightening. He puts them together very well. He hits you very hard in the midriff area, and he wins you. He did it with his brother. He's done it with many other fighters in the past. He really has. He hurt Golovkin a couple of times with a body shot. And Golovkin's as tough as they come. Listen, this is a very, very tough fight for Callum Smith. But when I looked at him in the face-off, Callum Smith is huge compared to Canelo. Huge. I'm talking, this guy looked double the size of Canelo. He looked massive. Like, that was a massive size. If Callum Smith is half a good fighter, I'm talking, if you've got that kind of size advantage, right? You, in my opinion, you've got a great chance of winning a fight if you're talented. Right? If Callum Smith is as talented as what a lot of fight fans think he is in the UK, some people have underestimated him because after that Ryder fight, they think, nah, listen, Canelo's a lot better than Callum Smith as a fighter. He's technically better. He's more gifted. His head movement, his defense, everything is a lot better. However, Callum Smith, when you've got those kind of physical advantages, I don't feel you have to be better than Canelo. You have to be able to use those physical advantages in your favor. And like I said, if he's able to keep the fight long, if he's able to keep it long, I feel Callum Smith has a great, great chance in this fight. Great chance to upset the apple card. He needs to keep it long. If Canelo gets on the inside, that's it. He's going to start chopping that body down, and I can see him stopping Callum Smith to the body. However, if Callum Smith can keep the fight long, keep him at the end of the jab, right? Canelo may get frustrated and Canelo may come in recklessly, and that might mean Callum Smith can let his shots off and potentially get a knockout. Who knows? Listen, Callum Smith is a big, big guy, and he can punch. He can punch. He's got a good left hook and a very good right hand. If that hits Canelo, who knows what could happen? Let's not forget, this is a massive, massive size and weight difference here. It's a big, big weight and size difference. And he's fighting a guy in his prime. He's not fighting Kovalev, who was out over the hill. He's fighting a prime Callum Smith. This is a Callum Smith, in his heyday. This is Callum Smith in his prime. Now, people may say, well, you say Callum Smith in his prime. What's he really done? Yeah, he hasn't done a lot. He hasn't done a lot. Really, if you look at it, who's he really fought? If you look throughout his career, he's not really beat anybody, really, of note. He beat George Groves, who was past his best, and even George Groves in his prime. George Groves in his prime doesn't have a chance of beating Canelo. Canelo would destroy George Groves, as far as I'm concerned. So really, Callum Smith's done nothing when you look at it in his career so far. Yeah, he's come through every test, but really, when you look at what he's done at world level, he's not done a lot. He's not done a lot. You know, a lot of people actually comparing this to Kell Brook. I disagree. When Kell Brook fought Golovkin, I completely disagree because Kell Brook had actually had a good win against Sean Porter. And he showed that he could mix it at world level. Callum Smith had a good win at George Groves, and that was a dominant performance by Callum Smith. But George Groves was right at the end of his career, and he had a shoulder injury. And George Groves, even in his prime, wasn't exactly a killer. You know, this is a guy that had a loss against Badu Jack. He lost to Froch twice. You know, so George Groves was a good fighter, but not elite level fighter. You know, he was a good world-class fighter. You know, and he was at the end of the road when he fought Callum Smith. So for me personally, my personal opinion, I don't really think Callum Smith at world level really shown a lot. He's not really done a lot. He's not really proven anything yet. This is his first time he's stepping up, and it's a big step up because it's not just a step up at world-class level. It's a step up at elite level, and not just elite level. You're fighting the best in the world. You're fighting one of the best in the world. So the size difference, Callum Smith may not be able to use his physical advantages, and Canelo might just steamroll him. Listen, Callum Smith may make this a very tricky fight, Canelo, or Canelo may just destroy him. Who knows? We just don't know how this is going to play out. You know, Callum Smith, however, is a very good fighter. Is a fighter that I rate very highly, and a guy that I was very excited about when I first saw him. Very excited. If you look at some of the best fighters in Britain, who I've obviously watched and rated over the years, Amir Khan, David Haye, Carl Froch. These are some of the best fighters that we've had in the last 10, 15 years. Guys that have achieved a lot, you know, beaten a lot of former world champions, done a lot at world level. I felt Callum Smith had the ability to be amongst those. I don't think he's really fought anybody. So as of right now, I can't really put him in with those guys and say he's as good as those guys, because those guys did a lot at world level. But in terms of Callum Smith, I thought he had the ability where he could be amongst those names. However, unfortunately, I think after the Ryder fight, he became a bit underrated. I still think he's a quality fighter. But this fight against Canelo is going to tell us a lot more, because Canelo's a guy still in his prime. Canelo's a very big puncher. He's a very good boxer. He's a patient boxer. He's got a lot of experience. He's fought many, many world-class fighters, you know, and unlike Callum Smith, Canelo is proven. He's proven. He's trial and tested. Unlike Callum Smith, who's a big dude, who's long, who's rangy, but he's not tested like Canelo. He hasn't done what Canelo's done in the game. He hasn't fought at world level, and that experience plays a big part, especially if Callum Smith manages to make this fight tough for Canelo. That world level experience, that experience against the many great fighters that he shared the ring with, is going to come into play. And Callum Smith's lack of experience at world level could be a massive disadvantage as well. So again, it's interesting. There's a lot of questions, because Callum Smith is finally going into a test which is going to show me how good Callum Smith is. Now, people may say, well, he did rubbish against John Ryder, and listen, that was a close fight. For me, that could have gone either way. Yes, Ryder probably edged it, but at the end of the day, it was a close fight. And that's just an off night. I don't know why people have such a high opinion of somebody and then they have put in a poor performance and all of a sudden they're rubbish. Why is boxing the only sport? Like listen, Liverpool can go and lose a couple of games. They're still Liverpool, right? But a boxer can go and have an off night and he's rubbish all of a sudden. You know, people could have such a high opinion of him, but all of a sudden he can go in and have an off night and he's overrated and he's rubbish. Why is it like that in boxing? It's not like that in any other sport. Any other sportsman can go and have an off night and they're not rubbish, they're not overrated. You know, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Sometimes it's just like any other sport. The other guy at the other end just beats you. Just better than you on that night. He may not even be better than you. We see it in football all the time. You get lesser sides beat better sides. That doesn't mean they're better than them. That just means that on the day they were better. That can happen in boxing. So I don't know why people are underestimating or underrating Callum Smith as a result of that John Ryder fight. Listen, he could have not been feeling well. He could have had an off night. John Ryder could have put in a great performance. Sometimes these things take place in sport. But why in boxing why do boxers become underrated? You know, a lot of people say that, oh, you know, when I spoke about Joshua, even before the Ruiz fight, when Joshua got knocked out, I was highlighting Joshua's flaws and vulnerabilities. So it's when he got knocked out, it wasn't like I was spilling the beans then. I was always saying that Joshua has vulnerabilities before that, even when he was winning. So that's a different when you're analyzing someone's game and you say, oh, well, this is where he's weak. That's different. But I didn't look at him and say, oh, Joshua's crap, Joshua's overrated, Joshua's this, like some people come out with. And the same with Callum Smith. He has one off night against Ryder and he becomes crap. He becomes overrated. It's just you know, Callum Smith is a very, very good fighter. He's just coming up against a legendary fighter in Canelo. I do think this is going to be I do think this is going to be a good fight. I do think this is going to be a good fight, and I do think Callum Smith is going to present a lot of challenges for Canelo. Who's Canelo been in with that's 6'4", that can punch with both hands, that's a good boxer? He's not been in anyone with that kind of style, with that kind of those kind of physical advantages over him. He hasn't. So it's going to be intriguing to see how Canelo breaks down Callum Smith. Not just how Callum Smith does at this kind of level. How does Canelo break down such a bigger man? That's going to be interesting. That's going to be intriguing to see. So, to be honest with you, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of this fight's intriguing for me, and there's a lot of answers that's going to be answered, especially about Callum Smith. You know, because Callum Smith pulls it off, it'll be an unbelievable win for him and his career. His career goes to another level. So, listen, I feel like sometimes we're harsh on fighters. They have one off night and they're crap. But for me, does Callum Smith need to knock out to win? Possibly. Possibly, because I think Canelo's too good a boxer for anybody to dominate against him. I think Canelo's too good a boxer, and if the fight's close, the chances are he's going to get the decision. You're not going to dominate against Canelo Alvarez unless your name's Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo when he was a lot younger. He never fought this Canelo. So, for me, I can't see Callum Smith dominating Canelo Alvarez. I think Alvarez is too good a boxer. And I think the fight, even if Callum Smith has a good fight, it will be close. And Canelo will probably get the decision. So Callum Smith probably does need a knockout. But he can't go in there looking for that and thinking that, you know what? I need a knockout because I'm not going to get the win. Because he's probably going to get stopped himself. So that's my take on it. What do you guys think? Do you think Callum Smith needs a knockout to win? How do you see this fight playing out? What do you think is going to happen? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.